You look at your calendar for the day and see a beautiful stretch of white space. You think, finally, a light day. I actually have time to breathe and get caught up. But then 5 p.m. hits. The office is empty. You're still sitting under those fluorescent lights, and you're still staring at a digital mountain of unfinished documentation. You feel that familiar heavy pit of burnout in your stomach, but you can't figure out why. Your calendar said you were free today. Here's the truth that almost none of us seem to learn until it's too late. Your calendar is lying to you. A calendar only shows you when you are scheduled. It doesn't show you your actual capacity. It doesn't account for the invisible hours, the travel time, the clinical planning, the task switching, and the deep mental energy required to do your job well. When you rely on a calendar to manage your life, you aren't planning, you're just guessing. And in this field, guessing is the fastest route to clinical burnout. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop the guesswork by conducting a time inventory. We're going to use the actual math of your workday to make your capacity visible so you can stop working at night and start leading your day. The reason we're so tired isn't just the work itself, it's the math that we're ignoring. Think about your last clinical session. On your calendar, it looks like a clean 1 hour block, but in reality, that hour has a hidden tail. You have the 10 minutes of prep before the client walks in, the 20 minutes of documentation afterward, and the mental switching cost it takes to stop thinking about that crisis and start thinking about your next task. When you add all that up, that 1 hour actually costs you 90 minutes of your life. If you do that just 4 times a day, you've lost 2 hours that weren't on your calendar. This is why you find yourself finishing your notes at your kitchen table at 8 p.m. You didn't run out of discipline. You aren't slow. You simply ran out of room in your day. You're trying to fit 10 hours of reality into an 8 hour window. To fix this, we have to stop looking at the clock and start looking at the inventory of your time. When you start treating your time like a physical inventory, you stop asking, when can I fit this in? And start asking, what does this actually cost? Every email, all the travel between clients, every quick phone call has a price tag in minutes. When you attach a real estimate to your tasks, your capacity becomes a data point instead of a guessing game. But even when you know the cost, we still struggle to say no. We get caught in what I call the urgency trap. We spend our entire day reacting to the person who is shouting the loudest or the email that just popped up, leaving the truly important work, that deep clinical thinking and the planning that we need to do for 5 p.m. when our brains are already fried. The time inventory forces you to look at that trade off in real time. It makes you realize that every time you say yes to an urgent but unimportant distraction, you are effectively saying no to your evening at home. You're visualizing the burnout before it happens, which is the only way that you can actually stop it. So, how do you actually move from your lying calendar to a truthful inventory? It's not about buying a new fancy planner. It's actually just a quick, simple 3 step audit of your daily life. The first step is to categorize your day into routines. Most people just see a big block of work time, but your energy is different at 9 a.m. than it is at 3 p.m. I want you to group your tasks into 3 buckets: your morning routine, where you prep and triage your day, your clinical day, where you're in the field or in session, and your evening routine. And that's the time when you close your loops. When you bucket your tasks this way, you stop seeing a random list of 50 items and start seeing the natural rhythm of your day. Now, the second step is where the math actually happens, but don't worry, it's pretty simple. You have to assign a cost to every task. This is the estimated time for each task. For 1 week, I want you to stop writing down when you'll do something and start writing down how long it actually takes. If a session is 60 minutes, but the documentation and the phone call afterward take 30, that task costs 1.5 hours. So don't forget the invisible tasks, the travel time between clients, the 10 minutes spent looking for a parking spot, and the 5 minutes spent checking emails between sessions. Write it all down. This is the only way to see if you're trying to fit 10 hours of reality into your 8-hour window. The final step is to filter for importance. Once you have your list and your time costs, you have to decide which tasks actually deserve your limited energy. To do that, we use a framework called the Eisenhower method. Essentially, every task on your list falls into two categories. It's either urgent or it's important. Urgent tasks are the things that shout at you. They are the notifications in your inbox, the quick questions in the hallways, or the phone calls that feel like they need an answer right now. The trap is that most urgent tasks are actually someone else's priorities that have been dropped in your lap. Important tasks, on the other hand, are the things that actually move the needle on your clinical goals, your career, and your sanity. This is your deep clinical planning, your high quality documentation, and your professional development. These tasks rarely shout at you. So they are the first things that we sacrifice when the day gets busy. Most of us are heading for burnout because we spend 90% of our day reacting to what happens during the day by responding to everything that's urgent, but not actually important. Other people's urgent tasks finally stop at 5 p.m. when they all go home, but then you're still left with all of your important work. But by then, your brain is tired, it's fried. The time inventory gives you space to label these. When you look at your list, ask yourself, if I only did the urgent things today, would I actually be a better clinician tomorrow? Usually the answer is no. By filtering your tasks this way, you give yourself the professional permission to ignore the noise and protect your capacity for the work that actually matters. If you want to go deeper into how to categorize your specific tasks using this framework, I have a separate video that breaks that down, and I'll be sure to link it in the description below. But for now, just start by asking, is this moving my goals forward, or am I reacting to a loud notification? When you put these 3 steps together, the routines, the estimated time, and the importance filter, you aren't just looking at a schedule anymore. You're looking at your capacity. Now, when a new request comes, you don't have to guess if you have time. You can look at your inventory and see exactly what yes will cost you. It gives you the data you need to say, I can do this, but it means I will have to bring some work home with me. And then you can ask yourself, is that the trade-off that you're willing to make? It shifts the conversation from your feelings of being overwhelmed to the facts of your capacity. Reclaiming your time doesn't happen by working faster. It happens by seeing the truth. For the next 24 hours, I want you to pick just 3 recurring tasks and calculate their hidden tail. See if that 1-hour meeting is actually costing you 90 minutes. Once you see the math, you can't unsee it. And that's the moment you stop being an office martyr and start being a sustainable professional. I'm Amelia Delphonse, and it's time to master your week.